All right, we are live. Yep, we're on air. Live on Facebook and on YouTube. Ayan, I saw it.
Check, check. Nag-lag kasi ako for a little bit before we went live, so I wanted to check if I'm here.
No, you're good. Yeah.
Yeah, I hear you.
Yep. Yeah. Weird.
Yeah, but you responded to that late, so I think may delay ako.
Hindi, just for a bit though. Hindi naman siya. Hello, Reddit Riga, coming in from YouTube. Hello, sir. Glendale, hello. It's just me, Oos. Yeah, that's a dope remix of the theme song.
What's up, Glendale? It's just you. Day one-ish.
Bruce, hello. It was kind of a bit late. That's fine. Sir Wayne, hello. Good morning.
Hala, na-late si Bruce.
So Ina has a question here. Like, can we think of a song now we can relate to what happened with AEW and CM Punk?
Yung
Like
si
a
Ina.
bad breakup song. Thank you, next. Yeah, that's a good
Ayan,
one.
okay itong binigay ni Glendale. Thank you, next. Pwede.
As a big Taylor Swift fan, I can give you "We Are Never Ever Getting Back Together." So that's my answer
Ito,
to
may
your
sagot
Huwag
ako
question.
dyan.
magsalita ng di tapos. This is wrestling.
May sagot ako dyan.
Yes.
Go.
Let Me Be The One. Kasi si Tony Khan yung ano eh. Was the one.
Kaso si Jimmy Bondoc problematic din eh. So,
Yeah, that's true.
hello from Bohol, Guntanks. Welcome back. We
Guntanks,
haven't seen you
hello.
on this space in a while. To si Glendale gusto magmure eh. Talagang yung FU ni Lily Allen eh. Dapat si Imon na lang. If you're gonna go FU, yung Imon na lang, di ba? Don't want you back. Pag alam mo yung kantang yun, mag-back maintenance meds ka na.
That was a landmark song, to be honest. That was huge back in the day.
Mhm. Mhm.
Sabi ni Bruce, Traitor by Olivia Rodrigo. Ay, that's... Ayun.
Si Bruce masyadong Gen Z eh.
Although he did give a Bon Jovi song, so it's a mix.
Mm.
It's a mixed bag.
Alright, 10 seconds. Time to shut up.
What's going on? This is Xavier Woods, aka Austin Creed.
Welcome to the big time!
Hello, WWE Universe in the Philippines. This is Charlotte.
You know your damn role and shut your damn mouth.
Hey everyone, this is Jeff Cobb.
I have to finish the story.
We are pretty deadly. Yes, boy. Yes, boy.
Hello, my name is Ilya Dragunov. This is Czar.
Bang! The sniper is shooting you down. This is TMDK's Robbie Eagles, and you are listening to the Wrestling Podcast.
You are watching and listening to the longest running weekly episodic Filipino wrestling podcast. This is the Wrestling Podcast. Stan C, Ro Moran, and Emil Nate in a very safe workspace where we do not have to fear for our lives. And we're so happy to join you on another Thursday live stream. Thank you so much for checking in and joining us, whether you're on Facebook or on YouTube or on TikTok at Wrestling2XPod, or hell, even on the audio-only versions where you can also catch the pod, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts. It's so good to see you again, to be back on the live stream. And we have a lot to talk about. We have a lot on our plate coming off of another huge week in wrestling. But before we get to all of the good stuff na kailangan natin pag-usapan dito, Emil, let's tell the people how they can be part of our growing Wrestling Podcast patron community.
If you want to be a part of our community, all you got to do is subscribe to our Patreon program at patreon.com/Wrestling Podcast. For as low as $5 or 260 to 270 pesos in our local currency, you'll get benefits as part of our Patreon program. You'll get to join our Discord community where you can interact with your fellow podcast and talk to us about anything, discuss wrestling, of course. But we also, like to talk about anything and everything under the sun. Sports, memes, fashion, games, anything and everything that you want. Also, we have, if you are part of our Patreon, when we do these pasabays, you'll get some friendly rates on the service fees na pinapatong namin, so that we can earn a little bit as well from that. And also, we also have the review content of the weekly wrestling shows courtesy of Raw and ASH, like Raw, SmackDown, NXT, Dynamite, and even some local wrestling as well. That's courtesy of Rowan. And by subscribing to our Patreon, you're supporting everything that we do here in the podcast. So again, please subscribe to our Patreon at patreon.com/Wrestling Podcast.
Saying thanks to Ina, Glendale, and Julian. Thank you so much for all of the good vibes you guys are sending my way. I also want to thank Hobby Stadium once again. I know we thanked them nung Pick of the Week episode, pero thank you ulit sa Hobby Stadium for hosting us nung weekend for the WWE Payback watch party. And as Ro, you've been saying nung Pick of the Week episode, di ba sulit na sulit para sa mga pumunta at naniniwala na legit yung watch parties natin?
testing. Yeah, I'm good. Yeah, thank you guys. If you didn't listen to the Picks of the Week episode, thank you for dropping by. Kung sino man ang nakikinig dito ngayon and pumunta kayo nung Payback. Emil was there, Chino was there. We had a fun time even though the setting was intimate. Actually, mas prefer ko yung ganun kasi less crowd control and, the vibes are much better, if you will. But, syempre we also like the big vibes pag big events like WrestleMania and SummerSlam. But these are also cool. I know that it was kind of difficult then to come and go out sa ulan, sa morning na you'd rather just stay home and stay in bed. But I know it's tough. But thank you guys. You asked for Payback and we gave you the show and we gave it to you with no problems either. So, hey, now you know. If you want a decent or solid PLE viewing experience, I know you guys want a lot of those WWE premium live events. Please consider going to a wrestling podcast and Geek Talk PH watch party because we got the goods, man. And we'll stay tuned then for the next one. I don't know when that is yet. I don't know if we're doing one for Fastlane, but we'll let you know This one was literally thought of by Legend Dennis like a couple of weeks or 3 weeks before the actual show. Like he just hit us up one time and said, "Oh, can we do a payback show?" And I wasn't even counting on it. So, yun. Ganun kadali, ganun kasimple ang thought process namin ngayon or organizing process namin ngayon when it comes to these PLE viewing parties. So please come by. Let's have a fun time. And thank you as well for our friends at Hobby Stadium for accommodating us on that Sunday morning. We had a fun time as well, enjoying their food and drink. It really helped make the early morning experience a lot better.
Yeah, tatlo na lang ang PLE natin sa WWE for the rest of the year. So you've got Fastlane, the Saudi show, I believe that's Crown Jewel once again, and Survivor Series to wrap a bow around 2023. More Hobby Stadium happenings for this month. You've got the Wrestling Quiz Night. We're bringing it back. September 23, 8 p.m. sa Hobby Stadium. So that's along Doña Hemadi Corner, Erod sa QC. Tickets are at 350 pesos. May kasama na yung iced tea. And marami tayong prizes. We've got GCs from Hobby Stadium. We've got shirts from Everybody's Toys and Collectibles and a limited edition Sensational Sherry action figure from Hobby Line Toy Store. So maraming salamat sa ating mga sponsors. We're really excited to be bringing quiz nights back, and you can join individually, you can join as a pair, as a group of 4, as a boy band or a girl group if you want. So go lang. Come on, come all to Wrestling Quiz Night. Again, that's September 23, 8 p.m. Tickets are at 350 pesos. Wala nang link. Just show up, pay at the door, and then we'll see you there at Hobby Stadium. All right?
If you if you don't want to play, you just want to hang out, pwede rin. Just come by. Let's fill up the small bar, the cozy bar of Hobby Stadium. I know a few of our friends from Manila Wrestling Federation are also dropping by because it's the night before our next show, which is today on Laban. We'll plug that later on in the stream. Pero pwede rin tumambay. Walang pressure din kasi baka ma-pressure kayo na kailangan nyo alamin lahat ng answers sa questions namin, diba?
Pwede naman tumambay, basta huwag kayong sugapa. Bumili rin kayo, mag-order din kayo from Hobby Stadium.
Hobby Stadium food and drink, top notch.
Huwag kayong garapal, sisipot kayo, makiki-CR lang kayo. Huwag naman ganun. Alright, we got some wrestling talk to get to, and let's start with the fallout from Payback. And we got to start with Shinsuke Nakamura losing his title shot against Seth freaking Rollins. Pero based on the events of what happened nung Payback after the camera stopped rolling, pati na rin nung Monday Night Raw, halata naman na hindi pa tayo tapos dito sa story nila ni Seth freaking Rollins. And we see that it's all about the back, diba? Kaya ba niyang i-load manage yung mga ganap sa buhay ni Seth Rollins, especially with Nakamura still being at it. And if you're following AEW, you might see some parallels between what's going on with Seth here and the Orange Cassidy story, which just wrapped up over the weekend. So, Ro, you were the one who brought up this comp.
Yeah, no, I wasn't actually the only one who brought up the comp, pero it's clear because it's more of a story about Seth than it is Nakamura's heel turn. Like, yes, it's a part of it, pero hindi siya the biggest part of it because now they're focusing on the fact that that Seth has a back injury, which is weird because he's been wrestling this whole time supposedly with a back injury and he's doing fine. And then the moment Nakamura exposes it, biglang nagka-weakness siya. Diba? It's funny. Funny how that creative decision works here. Pero yeah, it's about him. It's about his bad back, and may tension na rin between him and Adam Pearce about him wrestling with his bad back as if nobody knew about this entire time, diba? So that's pretty also a strange narrative choice there. But
Hindi raw kasi ni-report ni Dave Meltzer eh.
Yeah. So, but he did say it in a podcast interview. That's how he found out, diba? So that's pretty weird. But I do like it. I find it a lot more engaging than what Orange Cassidy did, because Orange Cassidy was just, playing it a little low key, diba? Parang he was just acting a little subtly na okay, he has a bad hand, he's banged up, but here you can easily grasp that Seth is hurt and he's continuing to wrestle hurt, and eventually that's going to catch up to him. And I think there is a bigger payoff for this than Orange Cassidy, but I'm not so sure now if the payoff is going to be Nakamura winning the championship.
Ikaw, Emil, what do you think that payoff is?
The payoff is for me. It's kind of obvious what the payoff is gonna be. It's gonna be Nakamura winning the title at the end. Like nung payback nga medyo na-disappoint ako na he didn't win, but but when they did that angle on Raw, I realized, oh, there's more to this story than just having Shinsuke win in his first title match. Kasi his target is the back, and he knows there will be dadating some point na Seth can't win anymore, and he's gonna take advantage of it. So I think that's gonna be the payoff at the end of this feud, whether it happens at Fastlane or at Survivor Series. That is the end game for this. It's Nakamura winning the title.
Very bold of Emil to call his shot and say na, si Shinsuke talaga yung magiging champion because we called that shot 5 years ago during the AJ Styles feud, and we were all wrong when Low Blow Nakamura kept losing title match after title match.
Yeah, that was that was a humbling moment.
Yeah.
Worthy of freezing cold takes.
So, Emil, ano natin yan? I-preserve natin to in
Yeah.
case you fall flat on your face with this take.
Oh yeah. I'm very confident on what I said. Like these
Okay, confident din kami nun.
There's no way they mess this up again. The story is headed there. So,
I don't know. I'm not so sure about that. Kasi when Nakamura said that he didn't want the rematch, he said no. I was thinking maybe there's a bit different motivation for him. Parang if they can articulate it, parang I hope that they say na Nakamura doesn't care about a championship. He just wants to prove that he's King of Strong Style undisputedly, diba? So if they go that way, okay lang. But the story really seem to be focusing more on Seth and his determination to wrestle hurt. That's how I'm seeing it right now because of all the players, Adam Pearce, Ricochet, Nakamura, diba? So I don't know if they took that from Orange Cassidy, pero it does seem that way.
Mm-hmm. Let's stick with the Payback Fallout. Nagpakita si Jey Uso at the PLE because he was announced as the newest member of the Monday Night Raw roster. So there's a lot to unpack here kasi si Cody Rhodes, di ba, umappear siya sa Grayson Waller effect, and then sinabi niya na whatever pull or influence he has backstage, ginamit niya yun to move Jey Uso to Raw. So dun pa lang, like one, paano nagkaroon ng sway si Cody? Pangalawa, Jey Uso magically gets rehired after quitting and then goes to Raw. And then, you have the nice detail na he shows up on Raw a couple of nights later, and then lahat ng mga nakabangga niya except for Sami Zayn, talagang very sus pa rin yung pagtingin nila sa kanya, which is really good kasi halatang nagpe-pay attention sila, 'di ba? Hindi lang si Kevin Owens yung parang, 'di ba magka-greet tayo dati? So at least ngayon, everyone has been paying attention and remembers na, galit pa rin ako dito kay Jey Uso. So you have all of these details coming together in the last week or so. So Emil, let's start with you. What did you think of this move na tinraid si Jey? Kasi yun yung in-announce si Adam Pearce backstage kay Jey na, okay, nandito ka na sa Raw, so may kapalit ka, merong babalik ng SmackDown.
I thought it was fine, but I also thought it was too soon to sell that he quit, that angle that he quit. Parang 3 weeks later, he got bumalik na siya agad just because he got traded to Raw. I wish they could have waited at least 2 months or at least a month before they pull this off. But it's fine kasi it's also a way to at least keep him apart from what is happening on SmackDown kasi that's what we are afraid of na the story's maluluma na yung story if he again gets involved with Roman and Solo and Jimmy. So it's fine, and I love that fact that nuance that all of the guys, even though Jey has been a babyface ever since May, yung mga ibang babyfaces din on Raw, because the bloodline messed with them before, parang hindi ibig sabihin na babyface na bati-bati na sila, like they still hold grudges against Jey, and this is gonna be an interesting story for him down the line. He needs to prove himself, and literal na wala siyang kakampi dito aside from Sami. Very different from when he was still on SmackDown. He had the whole bloodline with him. So it's gonna be much more different Jey Uso this time, and let's see if he can swim with the sharks.
Ikaw, Ro, di ba we've been calling na it's Jimmy versus Jey for WrestleMania 40. So, this is clearly to set them apart for now.
Yeah, I agree with Emil na that's weird. The layoff was too soon. I mean, was too short, rather. Parang, all of a sudden, Cody Rhodes can pull strings and facilitate a trade, diba? I don't care if he was an EVP before. That doesn't make sense in the WWE universe. I wish that they tried to explain it. I think they had time. Diba? As you can see with Payback, stories don't function necessarily in 4-week cycles anymore, 3 to 4 week cycles anymore. Like Triple H allowed them to breathe over time. So what was stopping them from putting together a brief 3 or 4 week story of someone, maybe fine, have it be Cody if it has to be Cody, but di na lang niya niligawan, diba? Si Jey to come back and then show the struggle of Jey deciding whether he should come back and face all that toxicity again, even if it's on another brand, diba? Parang we cut right through that would have been emotional beat to get to a point that I honestly didn't think wasn't earned. So sayang opportunity. There's still a chance for them to explain all of this heading forward, especially with the storytelling they've been doing. But I wish that storytelling had happened before Cody brought Jey back and not after. Sayang lang. It's good though. It's good that they acknowledged na Jey had beef with a lot of championship contenders along Roman's path, diba? That's good. That's something I don't think Vince would have thought through. I don't think he would have made the effort to have them acknowledge that little detail. Pero right now it's looking good, but I am also intrigued sino yung papadala na sa SmackDown for that. If it turns out to be Cody, then it makes sense, I guess, na send Cody or facilitated a trade of himself.
Baka pinetition niya na, sige, gusto ko pa rin kalabanin si Roman, but to do that, I have to be on SmackDown. So ako na lang i-trade mo, in-offer niya sarili niya. Then again, teka lang, naisip ko rin.
I hope they explain that. Kasi yun yung kulang eh. Yeah.
No, ito ba eh, how do you trade Cody for Jey when Jey had to be rehired?
Yun nga. No, I don't think... No, I think the nuance there is I don't think he left. He left his deal. Diba? Parang you say you quit, but you're not really quitting kasi your contract is still locked up by management. I think it's one of those things that easily explained.
Nag-awol lang siya.
Yeah. Diba?
Nag-awol ang puta. Okay. Pero yun lang, naisip ko lang siya in the moment. Kasi nga, di ba, nag-quit si Jey. So, dapat, technically, hindi na siya part ng SmackDown kung nag-quit siya. So, anong trade yung mangyayari kung wala naman yung entity doon, di ba, to be traded. So, yun. Just my wrestling brain.
It's like a sign-in trade. You re-signed him, then traded him to
Re-sign?
Dapat may draft compensation.
I think they can explain that by having Adam Pearce come out and say, I didn't say it is official, so it's not official. Diba? So, may ganun I think may ganung nuance na ready to be exploited. Oh yeah, Glendale's right. He was placed in the alumni section.
Yeah.
Fucking shit.
I know,
yeah, so, that's the fact that we're asking these questions proves that they skipped a few steps in this story, a few chapters in the story.
Kasi tayo na mismo yung nagpuput together ng mga missing details. Alright, we'll take our first break. When we come back, we'll break down Judgment Day All Belts, the Zoe and Trish breakup, and we'll talk about LA Knight. Yeah! But first, a quick word from our other podcasts on the Pod Network. All right, we've got more Payback Fallout to break down here, and let's start with the Judgment Day, all carrying gold. So Finn Balor and Damian Priest have become the new undisputed tag team champions. So that's great. Yung breakup nila, 'di ba, hindi pa matutuloy kasi right now they're on the same page. Si JD McDonough predictably got involved, so medyo masaya din sila sort of, pero still question marks surrounding the circumstances of his involvement, like ano ba talagang status niya with the Judgment Day. And then, the Judgment Day is basically like the Bloodline just earlier this year na lahat sila may championship, diba? I mean, si Solo didn't have anything, but Jimmy and Jay and Roman all carrying two sets of titles.
Solo was North American champion before.
For a week. For a week.
For a week.
Right. So you've got Dom in the Solo spot here. So, ayun, what do you guys think of how this has all happened? Kasi, like the Bloodline story, ito rin, maraming elements that are coming together here. Let's start with you, Emil.
I like this development because I said nung predictions na something has to go down at Payback. Like, it's either they unite or they break up. Kasi the story has been parang na-stagnate na siya for a while after Money in the Bank. And parang walang masyadong nangyayari. But finally, something happened now. And we got this. Like, Judgment Day, at the end of the day, they won all the titles. And they are now united more than ever before. And it seems like JD is gonna get added to the mix now. So, akala ko yung Judgment Day, they're on the end stage, parang final stage of their story, pero it seems like wala pa tayo sa kalahati. And I like it because people love the Judgment Day and we need that one long-term storyline on each show. And this seems to be that story for Raw. So, I'm fine with it.
Mm-hmm. What do you think of JD's involvement dito sa pagkapanalo ni Finn and Damian?
I like it. It adds more intrigue. It adds more layers to the story. Ano ba talaga siya? Is he really like trying to get in, or is he trying to get in to break them up from inside? So very interesting. Si JD bigla sa story na to, and he's someone to watch out for in the next few weeks or even months to come.
Ikaw, Ro, we're 5 months removed from the Bloodline all having gold. So is it too soon that another heel faction has all the championships?
No, I think the good thing here is Triple H. He created another organically cheered and supported heel faction, whether he intended it to or not. Pero he was listening to the people. The people wanted to get the Judgment Day over. People wanted Finn to be a champion, and now he's a champion. People, syempre, di naman mawawala yung gusto magpaapa kay Mami Rhea. So people are booing the fuck out of Dom, diba? So these are things that naturally came together, and I think more organically than the Bloodline even, to get to that top where they're all successful as a unit. So that's pretty cool. And I think if he delayed that, then that's gonna be a lapse on his part kasi maraming may gustong manalo sila. So tamang panahon, to quote the cult, if you will. So with this, I'm really compelled. I'm really invested in JD's journey to join. I don't know where it's going. It's one of those things. It's like the Sami Zayn storyline from last year. I want this to play out, and I don't know. I think I'm gonna like whatever happens, whether JD comes in to be a part of the unit without any problems and tension, or if JD comes in to break them up. Diba? I really want Judgment Day to be Finn Balor's successful Bullet Club project at WWE, where he did not have that prior to this moment in time. Diba? He kind of had the club but didn't really have the club kasi naka AJ yung custody ng the club. So I think this is cool, and I think if Triple H plays his cards right, he could possibly have, or he could recreate yung magic ng Bullet Club like fucking 10 years ago. Do I remember that shit? Judgment Day is fucking over. They're really over. More
Yeah.
over than even I thought they would be last year when post Edge, nung panahon na di ko pa alam kung ano yung purpose nila sa buhay. Ano yung mission vision nila. So props to them, props to everyone. It's all good. I mean, they also plucked JD McDonough from main event and then easily organically slid him in this successful Judgment Day storyline. So props as well to the creative team for finding a way to do that without making it feel forced.
Congratulations, by the way, to Finn Balor for joining Rhea Ripley
yeah.
in the Grand Slam Club.
Yep.
So, Grand Slam Finn is a thing kasi kulang na lang niya yung Tag Team Championships, which he won over the weekend. I want to address this comment here kasi Albert's not the first person tonight who has said that they want main event Jey Uso in the Judgment Day.
They did tease
Why?
it,
Why?
Because they teased it.
They
On
teased
Oh,
it.
nga, but why would you want it?
No, I think that was just them setting up Jay's next feud.
Obviously, next
kasi
side quest niya.
Which is fine. I love these side quests. Triple H makes these side quests pretty interesting. It's a good way to delay yung whatever obvious matchup that they have on the horizon and have the guys, the main characters, do something else.
Yeah, it's very interesting that Triple H has been doing this creatively kasi back in the days na Vince was in charge of creative, yung philosophy niya was always get to the big match now. Diba? It's kind of the reason why we had the Big Shield triple threat, not at a Big Four pay-per-view, much less not WrestleMania, but at Battleground. That was the one time it happened kasi it was that time na lahat sila were in the World Championship picture. So, sakto, yun na, Shield triple threat, right here, right now. So, yun na yun. And we never had it again. Whereas with Triple H, it seems na there really is that big tentpole show na kailangan niyang puntahan. And to get there, he has to keep these players apart for the time being.
Yeah. Yep. As to Jay, I don't know. I think Jay versus Dom would be fun.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
I think we're at a
Have Jay
point where tanggap na natin na Dom can have a great match with anyone. It'll be fun.
I don't know. Fuck it. Have Jay win the North American Championship.
And then angry Mustafa Ali would just seed somewhere.
Iba na naman kalaban niya.
Kawawa si Mustafa Ali dito eh. Right, let's go to Zoe and Trish. They had their own little breakup after the steel cage match, so Becky gets the definitive win, and then Zoe Stark and Trish Stratus have a spat at the end. Zoe decks Trish, hits her with a Z360, and then ito na yun. Is this the end of the Trish Stratus 2023 comeback? And to add to that, coming out of Raw, you had Zoe Stark and Shayna Baszler getting into it, having a match. Shayna ends up respecting Zoe Stark after the fact. So, ano to? Are they gonna team up now? What do you make of this?
I think they are. It's one of those things na, okay, somebody else is the women's champ, and then they also happen to be a heel. So, also, as they acknowledged on Raw, the tag team championships are cursed. So, gotta have someone else. You gotta have someone else step up, diba? And which is
Pero
fine.
ba short-term
kasi-
injury lang tong kay Piper Niven or like a short-term illness?
I don't. I mean, I don't know. Pero syempre, right now, then wala silang contenders, wala silang challengers. So you gotta put it together and then have the other women challenge for a championship, which is totally fine. I get it. It's not a bad thing. I actually dig it. I like this. Zoe and Shayna. I think it's a better version of Shayna and Ronda kasi mas hiyang si Zoe Stark in the wrestling business as a wrestler, diba? So I think they got something good going there. I just hope that they don't break it up so soon kasi that is the other curse of the women's tag division.
Meron mga bali-balita that officials backstage are pretty high on Zoe Stark, especially coming out of the Trish Stratus feud. So, if you guys have been reading yung mga rumors, yun, medyo magandang sign to for Zoe Stark. Emil, what do you think about how this all went down?
Someday it is gonna be a trivia question. List down all of Shayna Baszler's tag team partners kasi sobrang dami na. And I wish Shayna could have had more as a singles, like more a legit run as a singles. But I don't mind this team kasi Zoe's really good. So is and pero I don't think it's time pa for her to chase after the women's world championship. So having a run with the tag team titles is it's the right step for her. And yun, in terms of the Trish run, yes, I think this is the end of the current Trish run. Kasi you can never top that steel cage match against Becky at Payback. That was the perfect ending to her current run.
Mm-hmm. But do you want to see more?
Um, yung mga appearances na lang yun na bumabalik-balik siya minsan. Yun na lang siguro. Pero as far as this year is concerned, that was a perfect end for Trish this year.
Actually, do I want to see more? I think she got it. I think she is in better shape now than she was 20 years ago. I don't know. That's just me spitballing, but I think she has it in her mid late 40s. Ano ba siya? How old is she now?
Yeah, she's like 47.
Yeah. So she got it. She did protect herself by retiring early in 2006. Diba? So I want to see more. I think there's a lot more that she hasn't done. She's proven herself with the steel cage match, pero I mean, if she can still do a late career renaissance, so pwede yan. There's a lot more women that she could work with. Like the entire Zoe thing is also another gold mine waiting to be discovered, diba? So may built-in story na siya if ever she decides to continue. If this isn't the end, or if this is the end of the current run.
Mm-hmm. Whatever happens to Trish Stratus from here, on behalf of the Wrestling podcast, we only have 3 words, and that is thank you, Trish. Let's get to LA Knight, who got endorsed by John Cena. They had that moment where naghubad talaga si Cena, tinanggal niya yung referee shirt, di ba? Para walang magsabi na, hindi, referee lang. I believe it was the Masked Man show where they pointed out na, sinadya talaga nila na tatanglin ni Cena yung t-shirt niya para we can just forget later on na, hindi, special ref lang si John Cena nung Payback 2023. But an endorsement is an endorsement, and there's John Cena raising up LA Knight's hand. So, has WWE pulled back on the rocket strapping of LA Knight too much? What do you guys think?
No,
I don't know. Go, Emil. You are the bigger LA Knight fan here.
it's fine. I mean, the endorsement is that's a big endorsement there, coming from what they say is the greatest of all time. Na pati si Cena na they call him the greatest of
That
all
was so random.
But yeah,
Actually, hindi siya nag-start nung Payback. It started this year. Like Money in the Bank, I think, when Cena appeared nung Grayson Waller effect. That's when it started. Na he got the greatest of all time moniker from Michael Cole.
Yeah, but he wasn't
the way
announced as
yeah.
He
It's
wasn't
the
announced
greatest
by
of all
Mike
time.
Rome.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
kaya siya nabigla kasi it was the first time the whole world, himself included, heard the fact that they were acknowledging him as the greatest of all time. So that, if I were him, I would also have the same reaction. Like, says who? Sino sinurvey natin para ito yung pag-agreean natin.
Going back to my point, no, it's fine kasi we got frustrated kasi before na he's not getting the push that he deserves, and parang we're finally waiting on that moment where he's finally gonna get it, and it's gonna progress from feuding with Miz to being endorsed by Cena to something bigger down the line. So hindi naman siya too soon eh. They're on the right trajectory for me as of right now.
Mm-hmm. So you're okay with LA Knight as he is, na wala muna siyang championship, he's not hovering around any title picture.
Yeah, just it's fine. Kasi
Look at you being a patient fan.
Abot naman siya sa point na yun. Kasi I have all the faith in Triple H to do the right thing.
Look at you. No, you're right. There is a lot of things to say about this, pero it's interesting that there are a lot of side quests for LA Knight kasi the momentum is huge. Like he's gotten Slim Jim endorsements, he's gotten the Mountain Dew co-sign. So it's funny that you can reach these heights as a professional wrestler on TV and then still be middling around in what are pretty much yung mid-card storylines ng my career mode sa 2K. Diba? So, it's all a progression from there. And even in 2K, you get catapulted to a championship right away. Diba? In my career, like they don't wait to give you that. So I find it funny that they're still holding off on this. I'm not the biggest LA Knight fan, as I like to keep mentioning, pero I find it funny that they're holding off on this. I don't know what their timetable is for LA Knight to reach critical mass, pero the crowd support for him is gonna reach critical mass a lot faster than the management creative support. So I don't know if that's a thing that they want to risk. Parang, diba, strike while the iron is hot. I mean, you already struck it to make it hot, so why not strike it again while it's already hot? So that's strange to me, especially when he is, according to metrics, the biggest merch mover on SmackDown, and to the point we can't even fulfill our own pasabay orders because they couldn't keep up with the demand of printing LA Knight merchandise. So that's insane.
Totoo to, guys, by the way. Ako kwento ko lang na in-order namin to August 30 nung MWF show. Pucha, hindi pa siya sinesend out kasi ginagawa pa yung shirts kasi out of stock.
Yeah, that's how insane it is. Pati yung business namin na-affect. So I don't know, why does it take that long, right? Like, what are you waiting for? What else are you waiting for? Like, he's already good. Like, he's already better than the Miz. Like, people have said LA Knight versus the Miz was a Miz versus Miz match, but I think LA Knight is pretty okay naman. He's been showing his athleticism. He's been showing then like his emotional depth as a talker. Like, do you need to slow burn this? Like, I want to ask you guys, if you were running the show, would you really have to slow burn this when it's clear, like by all standards and measures, na LA Knight is a big deal because the crowd has willed LA Knight to be a big deal?
Yeah, I'm just surprised na hindi pa siya US champion at this point. Like, the US championship is the one championship na parang walang long-term story arc eh. Diba, you have Gunther with the IC title, which we'll talk about in a bit. You have Roman with the Universal Championship, and then Seth with the World Heavyweight Championship. Lahat yun may story arcs na sila eh. But the US title has kind of been floating there. So, I don't know. I thought it was an opportunity. Sakto SmackDown title pa yun. Tapos SmackDown si LA Knight. So, it would have been right there for the taking.
Yeah, that's why it was also confusing when they did the tournament and he didn't nanalo sa LA Knight, because I thought that's for him to take. That title is for him to elevate. Pero wala. I think kasi may story. You say that there's no story around the US title, but then I'd argue there is a story building with Santos and Rey Mysterio there. So siguro after nun, yeah, then may have LA Knight win the US title and go on from there.
No, I would argue that the Santos Rey story doesn't necessarily need the title.
Oh, yeah.
Kasi parang pwede mong i-argue na sinulot ni Rey yung title opportunity ni Santos. Eh. So Rey could lose it to LA Knight today, and then Santos and Rey could go feud over their unresolved issues, diba? So, yun lang. Just answer Rose's question there. But there, that's our dedicated portion for this week for LA Knight.
Yeah!
All right. Let's mention Gunther since we already brought him up, and let's congratulate him first for breaking the Honky Tonk Man's record for longest reign as Intercontinental Champion. What a match again against Chad Gable, and I feel bad that Chad Gable's daughters are probably gonna be memes. I hope na hindi sila ma-affect niyan as they grow up. But, you know, the fact that they broke down in tears afterward tells you how emotional that match was. So it's still very much real to them. And I appreciate Chad Gable and Gunther's performance all the more for it. So we have some questions. First off, who should defeat Gunther since he's already surpassed the Honky Tonk Man's reign?
I still think it's gonna... I think I've been alluding to this ever since. I still think it has to... I got two people in mind. If it's not Sheamus, no. If it's not Sheamus, and then
Drew McIntyre.
No, it will be someone who's still in NXT, which is Ilya Dragunov. Because I think only Ilya has Gunther's number in WWE.
I don't think the mainstream Raw crowd cares about that so much because they don't know. They didn't see NXT UK the way we did. Like we could have hyped that match all year, but they wouldn't have watched it. So to them, to the people watching Raw and SmackDown on TV every week,
Who
medyo,
you si Ilya?
oh, non-entity si Ilya. Hindi naman persona non grata, pero they don't know of him yet. So I don't think that is an option right now. It could be if they build it up, pero that would mean a longer time for Gunther as champion, diba? So ako naman, I want Jey Uso to do it. I think that is a good achievement for him, especially if the quest is to brand him and solidify him as main event Jey Uso. Like Gunther literally main evented the episode of Raw with the Intercontinental Championship. So how much more main event can you get without beating Seth, diba? So that's pretty cool. That's my pick, Jay. I wanted to ask you guys first before we get to the next question. Like, what do you guys, especially you guys in the chat and listening to this right now, what do you think of this booking of Gunther as Diet Roman Reigns? Roman Reigns 2. Kasi it's obvious
may
that
mga
that's what they're
nakikita ko
doing
na
here now.
may nakikita akong nagsasabi na nakakasawa because Roman is still ongoing tapos may Gunther ka rin. Then again, Gunther is such a beast na I don't see him being booked any other way. So I get it kasi diba that's the Gunther blueprint. Diba we got that with the NXT UK title run. So I expected nothing different now that he's the longest reigning Intercontinental Champion of all time.
Wait, clarify, Eunice. I didn't say Gunther was Diet Roman Reigns. I said the reign is Diet Roman Reigns. Kasi it's literally the same thing, except it's still shorter. To the point, it could be a lot shorter than Roman's reign, but it's the same thing that they're doing in a smaller scale.
I kind of don't agree with that as well. Kasi over the years, sa mga defenses ni Roman Reigns, after the match, I always think, oh, man, why didn't have this guy win, or why did Roman win again? But with Gunther, I didn't feel that. Like, every time Gunther wins, it's okay because he's so much of a beast na it's believable na he's really unbeatable. You know, kasi with Roman, we already saw him lose so many times before. Like even before the Tribal Chief persona. Pero with Gunther, in his main roster run, he has literally been unbeatable. So parang okay lang yun for me. I don't mind him having this long of a reign and having title defenses na the way that they end. So
no, the thing is, it's in a vacuum. It's okay, but we're not in a vacuum. The reality is there is another one doing the same thing. Yun lang naman. But it is interesting kasi it's kind of sad that the pattern is repeating itself with regard to people get built up and then they look good as contenders and then they almost win. They could win believably, but they don't because they're protecting a reign, diba? So even though you have a great champion, you're also subjecting all of us to heartbreaks like that, diba? It's like how many more kids are gonna cry because you're protecting Gunther, diba? So yun lang naman.
Yeah, something to think about. So, let's talk about Gable here because he deserves his flowers. Ano mangyayari kay Chad Gable dito?
Yun nga, diba? So, what else is gonna happen? Well, I do think he's gonna become a champion someday. Like, under the Triple H regime. Yung
North American champion din?
I don't know. Something. Tag team champion, maybe, if they ever decide to split up the championships. Pero, mga bata ng Triple H, they're getting their hot girl summer right now. So, it's a matter of time. But yun nga, like I said before, somebody has to lose, somebody has to win. But, some of these people are winning more and a lot more are losing. So, yun lang naman.
I think whoever takes the title away from Seth, obviously that's gonna be a heel. I think Chad Gable should be like the first feud, or first in line to go after the World Heavyweight Championship.
All right. Which run was better? Which long run was better? Orange Cassidy or Gunther?
That's a tough question. Kasi both of them are really good if you look at them on its own. Kasi first of all, hindi sila magkapares na title reign when you look at their matches. With Orange Cassidy, at the end of his title run, he was getting more desperate to win because his body was catching up to him. But with Gunther, he is so dominant na even though it's now 400 days, parang ganun pa rin. He still beats his opponents every time with no problems whatsoever. So both of them are historic on their own. That's why it's tough to pick. It's really tough to pick. This is a question that I actually tweeted after no Raw, like which
I got that from you.
people, yeah, ano yung mas historic, ano yung mas better, or ano yung mas gusto nyo, like in terms of your preference. And for me, I'd go with Gunther, but it's a really close margin.
I got a good answer for this. My pick is Orange Cassidy. Kasi
wow.
With Gunther kasi again from NXT UK, I already know he was dominant as fuck. Like Gunther was the guy. He's a made man in NXT and then coming to the main roster. But as the Orange Cassidy fucking evolved with that championship reign, diba? People thought, and a lot of people still thought, at the start of his reign, he was still the hands in the pockets, doesn't give a shit guy, wherever, whatever guy. But by the end, everyone knew that he was legitimately elite. Like, he established himself, even though it was a little selfish for him to wrestle like that. He established himself as an all-time great. You can slot him now in the world championship scene, and it would still it would make sense now than it did maybe a year ago, 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So, ang galing ng progression ni Orange Cassidy from there, and it shows also how great of a wrestling mind that he is.
Yeah, the dude turned "I do not have a catchphrase" into his catchphrase.
Yeah,
that's
exactly
nuts.
I'm actually gonna use that one time eventually.
In the year of our Lord 2023, the words "I do not have a catchphrase" has become a wrestling catchphrase. Jeez. All right, we're going to talk about AEW in a bit. We'll take another break and hear from our other podcasts on the Pod Network. All right, let's talk about AEW and start off with All Out. So, a lot of people generally agree that it was a good show from top to bottom, especially coming off of CM Punk's controversy and then his firing literally the day before the show. So, for those of you who get the reference, ito ba yung bagong yugto ng AEW? And again, if you know, you know. Emil, did you think this was the low-key reset button for Tony Khan and company?
Yes, definitely. It's you can see it sa mga performers din eh. Like they're re-energized. This is the new chapter without they're moving on without Phil, and it looks like they're all motivated. They are all excited, and kitang-kita naman sa mga like my expectations with All Out was really low. Like, we just came from All In a week ago, so bababa yung expectations ko, but I'd say they really delivered on all the matches dito sa All Out. Mm-hmm. And so yeah, I consider this a reset of some sorts for AEW.
Ikaw, Ro, bagong yugto moment ba nila to?
Yeah. It's also pretty impressive considering the fact na ito yung B-side ng All In, right? So that was pretty interesting. In a way, the matches were also booked to be better than All In, but also it was clear that it was the All In side B. if you ever had a cassette tape. So interesting, really interesting. They were also pretty motivated. I think the Elite most of all. Kasi wala na yung problema nila. But everyone then, if you were if you were an enemy of CM Punk, you were motivated to do better because you wanted to get the stink of the controversy off of the sheets, diba? And then if you were a friend of CM Punk, you probably were motivated out of spite for that decision. So a lot of motivation all around. And I wanted to go back to what we said nung Picks of the Week episode. Na it was unfortunate that the success of All In all around was tainted by Punk acting out and not regulating himself emotionally. So it was pretty good. And obviously the issues within AEW are not all gonna go away just because Punk left. But it's also pretty nice to see them rally together and do their best, especially when their backs are up against the wall in Chicago. Diba?
Yeah. Very surprising for AEW, especially Tony Khan, to get booed in Chicago. But then again, kasi nga, si CM Punk para siyang Diyos in Chicago, diba? So, kaya siya naboo doon. So, it was very surreal, this whole thing. To see it all play out in front of our eyes, both on social media and then on TV. So, you compare All Out to All In and then Payback and even the TV shows that we've had throughout this 10-11 day stretch. Let's keep it to that. Was All Out the best show, or was there a show that surpassed All Out for you guys?
I like
for
All
me,
Out a lot. Sorry, go Emil, go ahead.
For me, All Out is a close second to Payback. That's
Interesting.
and it's kind of a shame that All In is third on my list, pero yun mas na-enjoy ko yung first two kaysa dun sa All In.
I would say All Out was the best. Payback could have been if Nakamura won, and then if the crowd was hot for the Nakamura Rollins match. Pero it kind of died in that spot. So parang it's not Triple H's fault also, but it also is one of those things na something isn't translating, so it didn't work out as well as everyone hoped. And All Out was just super electric from top to bottom. Even though it was overkill with the way Tony Khan likes to book pay-per-views, there is a real need for editing across the board. Pero it was still pretty great. Like it's also a lot of things that I love about wrestling in that show. Like you got Meat Forever, you got violence and blood. Then you got Orange Cassidy doing Orange Cassidy and John Moxley being John Moxley. So despite my misgivings about the way Tony Khan runs his business, it's like WWE nung panahon ni Vince. Right? You don't like Vince booking, but the wrestlers are determined to succeed despite of it. So I think it's the same here, and it really makes for good professional wrestling TV. So I enjoyed All Out, and if you are on the fence about AEW, I think you guys should check out All Out. Maybe not the whole show, but you know, the ones we're praising, the ones we're talking about, the big names. So a lot of stuff to be enjoyed on that show.
Mm-hmm. Any favorite, from All Out? If you guys listen to Picks of the Week, I shouted out my favorite match, which was the strap match between Ricky Starks and Bryan Danielson. Pero kayo?
My favorite moment from All Out is when the wife of Miro, CJ Perry, aka formerly known as Lana,
AKA na FKA pa.
Did I repeat?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
true. No, it's no, that makes sense. I get what he was trying to say.
Appeared
But she didn't get called by a name, diba? She just came out and she's his wife,
Yeah, no,
Mrs.
kasi,
Miro.
No, kasi they put that deal together the week of the show.
Yeah.
They somehow didn't agree on a name. So that goes to show you the creative process.
and
Sobrang weird lang. I mean, like this big name comes out and she has no name on the product. It's just so odd. But
everybody
okay.
knows who she is, right?
Yun nga.
Of course,
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And then the funniest thing about all of this is when nung nasa ring na siya, Miro was acting like she's a stranger. Like, dude, she's your wife.
No.
Magkasama kayo lagi sa bahay.
No, may story yan.
Okay.
Obviously,
Pero
he
yun
knows
lang.
that she's his wife.
But
but
you're not real. Parang ganun.
No,
Have you not been watching the Redeemer vignettes? Na parang
he didn't want anything to do with his wife. He wanted to, his entire thing was about his God. Yeah. So yun yung dahilan no. So not paying attention.
Okay, now I have some. Pero still,
Na-expose si Emil, nako.
Kasi that was funny. Tawa ng tawa when that moment happened. So that's my favorite moment from All Out. And of course, the Blackpool Combat Club being together again. And actually, I think all of them won their matches. The tag, Claudio and Utah, and then Brian with the strap match, and John Moxley with the International Championship. And kahit si Brian, he wrestled as a face. He's still together with the group, which is nice. Because Blackpool Combat Club is, I want them to stick together because they're really good.
Okay, when we did Picks of the Week on Monday, I hadn't gotten to see the whole show yet, but after I did, my favorite part of the whole thing was Miro versus Hobbs.
Big meaty men slapping.
Yeah. Yeah, kasi it's not what you would expect of AEW wrestling. It's not the DNA of AEW.
That's right.
So, the fact that may ganun is a nice, refreshing change of pace, and I hope, and it did look like it won over the traditionally smarky crowd of Chicago. So it goes to show you that it's not always about the indie-tastic acrobatic stuff, but also good old-fashioned big meaty men slapping meat. Diba? So if you haven't seen that yet, please do so. And then you also got to watch Samoa Joe versus Shane Taylor. Shane Taylor proved why he was booked on that show. So go watch those kasi it might not be your cup of tea the same way it was ours, but it does stand out in a good way.
Na-appreciate ko na sobrang may branding yung catchphrase ni Big E na big meaty men slapping meat, that it has transcended promotions.
Yeah.
Kasi AEW, he's an active WWE guy, and yet they said, big meaty men slapping meat. And if Big E is not making money out of it, someone has done him dirty.
I mean, big meaty men transcends all wrestling promotions anyway.
Yeah, but obviously it was a WWE podcast.
Oh, he said it on the New Day pod, which is under WWE.
Yeah.
Okay. Last thing coming out of All Out, what are you most excited for sa immediate future ng AEW? Because I appreciate how we have all of these new storyline threads being brought out. So MJF and Samoa Joe, you've got Hangman versus Swerve. You also have the tournament, and then Roddy and the Kingdom really doubling down on their heelishness as a group. So what's your favorite part of this post All Out and I guess post CM Punk AEW landscape?
I'm gonna be interested on how are they gonna book Collision, or how Collision is gonna look from now on. Kasi before it used to be, the CM Punk show. Like all of his friends are there, all of the guys I didn't like are not there. They're on Dynamite. So now with him being gone, how different is Collision gonna look from Dynamite? Because one of the things that I liked about Collision is that the guys who are wrestling in Collision are not on Dynamite, and guys who are on Dynamite, parang minsan lang sila lumabas sa Collision. So I'm gonna be interested in how that goes in the future. So.
All right, ikaw, Ro.
I'm still pretty interested in MJF Adam Cole, but I'm also interested in MJF Samoa Joe kasi ito yung isa pang side quest na they're figuring out now. Like I like that mainstream pro wrestling now is slowly drifting away from yung fucking timetable na sineset ni Vince McMahon dati, because monthly pay-per-views mean you gotta write everything in bursts of 4 weeks, diba? And now they're not doing that. Like whether they planned it this way or they're adjusting for organic crowd reactions, I like that they're adjusting and calling audibles now. Okay, we don't have to do the breakup right now. We don't have to get to the title match right now. We can do other things, and then we can parang retrain. We can retrain the expectations of the audience of what makes a good story in pro wrestling. So that's pretty cool. Also, like whatever the women are doing. Obviously, it's a long way to go, but I think the women are slowly finding their stride. Like, Baby Tony is already the most compelling thing about the AEW women's division.
That's true. Yeah, I love her old Hollywood icon gimmick.
So, maraming things to be excited about, and I think Tony Khan is also at his best when he has to work out of a scandal like this. We saw it last year with Brawl Out, diba? And it kind of normalized after that, but now we're also in that energized, refocused period where TK has to do all the lines he could to make the best show he could make.
Ito, speaking from personal experience, a company does feel extra energized after you've exorcised certain demons.
Yeah.
May gigil ka coming out of that kasi you really want to show the world na they were the problem. We're so much better without them. So, fearless forecast ko is you'll feel that same energy from AEW whether or not they say it in those terms.
Yeah, agree. Bagong yugto nga, diba? After all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we know because previous experiences. All right, let's get to some plugs. Before we get our audio-only part, which you guys can catch sa Spotify, by the way, or Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts. We'll talk about some NXT stuff over there, Braun Breaker and Von Wagner, pati na rin yung new side quest ni Becky Lynch. We'll talk about all of that. But Emil, you've got something new to plug on the heels of NBA 2K24 dropping over the weekend.
Yes, so NBA 2K24 is gonna drop tomorrow and over the weekend.
Promoted ba to?
No, hindi. I'm just on my own. I just want to do this.
May code ka rin ba? May special download ka?
Wala. And I'm planning to stream some gameplay over the weekend, so it's gonna be on my personal Facebook page. I think that's Saturday nights or around 8 or 9 p.m. So mag-stream ako doon. So join me. I'm gonna play some of the Mamba Moments challenges there. So that's what I'm planning to do on Saturday.
Twitch?
No, Facebook lang.
Facebook. Right.
Yeah, personal Facebook page. So that's where I'm gonna stream. So, join me on a Saturday night, and let's see if 2K24 is really a great game, because all of the rumors I've been hearing, it's gonna be a very, very brand new game because of the new animation. So let's see. So join me Saturday night to NBA 2K24 stream on my personal Facebook page. So, yeah.
All right, Ro.
Yeah, Unmasked is coming back by the weekend. We also hit some... it was supposed to come back today, but we also hit some more scheduling snafus. So, medyo na-delay ng konti. So, if anyone out there is waiting for the new episodes after 2 weeks, it's coming. Stay tuned. We already recorded, and it's coming. We have ended the season with this latest session of recording. So, until then, if you haven't listened to the rest of the season, it's available on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Just search Unmasked: The Chronicles of Romaran and Sadata.
All right. New MWF tapings happening on September 23 pala, sorry. 23 or 24? Yeah, 24. It's a Sunday.
Yeah.
Right. 4:30 p.m. sa Mandala Park in Shaw Boulevard, or along Shaw Boulevard in Mandaluyong. So go watch us do our thing live. But in case you can't make it, MWF is on Rock of Manila TV Mondays at 9 p.m. Please make that your Monday night habit. Really excited to keep bringing our stuff to TV, especially now that we're showing Road to Fate starting next Monday. So, new set of episodes na to from MWF. We also have post-show recaps. Yung review namin of Heels Season 2 is still ongoing. We dropped yung episode 6 recap over the week. It was me and Grace Leader, my regular co-host for that one. But she's taking a break because of the Toronto International Film Festival. So Ro here is joining me for episode 7. We're recording that episode on Monday. So that should be out in your podcast feeds mga Monday night or Tuesday morning, whenever they figure that out in their end of the world. So go check out that podcast. Again, it's called Post Show Recaps. Yung Heels episodes are on the same feed there as every other show that they do.
If you guys tune in, maybe they'll let us do more TV shows, diba? So who knows?
Yeah. Who knows? Ano pa ba? Go check out, I'm going to plug my TikTok at Stancy Says, because I've been working on that the last couple of weeks. Thank you to everybody who's been showing it some love, especially in the wake of the FIBA World Cup. And to everybody who's been saying hi at the games, really appreciate you all. So if any of you are going to be at the semifinals tomorrow sa MOA Arena, kita-kita tayo doon. And if you happen to snap a photo, please tag me because I'm very bad with names. So I would like to get to know your names when you tag me on Instagram after we have our little photo ops at the arena. That's it. Go follow us individually at EML_Meister, at Roes War, at Monday Night Rowan, at Chino Supersize, and at _Stancy for me. For the podcast, it is at Wrestling Podcast or on TikTok and Twitter. It is at Wrestling2XPod. Thank you so much to babyface producer Jasper, who was at the controls once again, and to every other member of the Pod Network for all of the work that they do behind the scenes to keep this podcast afloat. Thank you to everybody who's watched and listened to this episode. Another episode of the Wrestling Podcast is in the books. On behalf of Emil Nate and Ro Moran, my name is Stan C, saying stay safe, stay healthy, and don't be a dick. Wrestling Podcast, out. Bye-bye.
Peace.